HTML number 2, our second assignment in our study of HTML coding, is about paragraphs. On Google Classroom, here on this link, there is a handout that is linked up for you. The handout looks like this. And I'm not going to go through all of this, but you're going to have to get to code.org and get to that web lab again. All right, great. Once you get there, you're going to have to work on some code that will include at least 3 different paragraphs. Now, I'm not going to read all of this to you, and I'm not going to stay on this handout for a very long time. This is available for you if you want to look at it, but I'm going to demonstrate what I mean by putting together 3 different paragraphs. Now, an option that you have here is, and this, you don't have to do this, but lesson number 1 had to do with headings, with creating headings. And so you could include some headings in what you make for this assignment if you wanted to. You don't have to, but you certainly could. I'll show you an example of one that has some headings in it in just a minute. This is going to be required for this assignment. We are going to I can't talk, sorry. We are going to include some bold, italic, and underline coding. And I have examples of the tags right here that help you create bold, italic, and underlined words. I will show you that in the demo as we proceed through. I'm not going to spend a long time talking about those right now. You will need to submit it when you're all done. You'll have to hit the share button on code.org and copy the link, and then get back to Google Classroom and turn in that link. You click the turn in or the plus button, and you add the link and you paste, and then you have to turn it in. So let's get back to that handout is posted on Google Classroom, but let's get over to code.org and look at some things there. Now, here's what I want you to see first. I've got some text kind of already ready to go a little bit here. All right. So I'm in the web lab, and I have put some text into the coding area. But really, to be honest with you, this is not really coded at all. It's just plain old text. And I wrote about paragraphs here. Pretty boring topic, I suppose, but here's the deal. When you write paragraphs, you usually put a separate idea in every paragraph. You kind of explain an idea. Now, in language arts class, they tell you that a paragraph should have 3 to 5 sentences. I think that's a rule they usually use in language arts. That's not always necessarily true on a web page. A paragraph could just be 1 sentence. And that's what mine is going to be this time. Yours could be that too when you do the assignment. But if you're a writer and you like to write about stuff, then go ahead. You don't have to like cut it short just because I only have 1 sentence here. You could have 3 or 4 or 5 sentences, whatever you want. So this is plain old text. It just says when you write a paragraph, you usually put a separate idea in every paragraph. Now look at the second thing that I wrote. Paragraphs help you help develop. I got to fix that little error right there. Paragraphs help develop your idea and keep your text organized so the reader can understand. All right, so that's the second thing that I said here. And again, it's not really coded at all, but it's intended to be a second paragraph. This is supposed to be 1 paragraph up here. This is intended to be a second paragraph here, and then this is intended to be a 3rd paragraph down here. So this says paragraphs are separated visually in one way or another with indents or space. And you know this is true because when you read a book, you can always tell when one paragraph ends and another one begins, and you can tell a couple of different ways. That sometimes they will indent the first word of the next paragraph, or if they don't indent it, they'll leave an empty line or a space. They'll skip a gap, and there's space between the paragraphs. So you can always tell when one paragraph is ended and another paragraph has begun. So again, what I've got here is not really coded at all. It's just a bunch of text. Now, it's really pretty readable right now because I put it on, when you're looking at line numbers here, I put this on line 8, and I started this one on line 10, and I started this one on line 12. And so you can read it pretty easily. It's pretty clear and easy to understand. But let's go look at what it looks like if you just take text like this, just plain old text. Let's go see what it looks like if you were to stick it in a browser. And all we have to do to find that out is just look over on the right. We just look over on the right-hand side. Look at this over here. Oh, look, it's just all run together. This doesn't even look good. This is hard to read. It's hard to understand. It's not separated out at all. Not at all. Right? This is a mess over here. All right. So let's, and if I were to come back over here to the coding area, and like let's say, well, what if I put some extra space in there? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. This is a mess over here. And that's where paragraphs, it's like paragraph tags to the rescue, right? They help a lot. They're going to help make this look a whole lot better. So let's look at how to create them, how to write them, and let's look at the effect that they have. Here we go. I'm going to go up here to line number 8 on this, and this is, you're going to write your own. So make sure you put, when you're writing your own, make sure you put it inside the body of the document. Remember, we do that, right? We get inside the body of the document, and here's the, way down here is the end of the body of the document, right? These script things, code.org just adds those in there automatically. I'm going to take it out. Doesn't matter. Right? So there's that's the end of the body, and this is the beginning of the body, and all the code that I'm going to put is in between those tags right there. It's inside the body of the document. Okay, well, let's start doing some paragraph tags. Here's how it works. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. It works like this. At the beginning of this, where it says when you write, I'm going to go bracket P bracket. I always pronounce that less than and greater than sign. I always say bracket. It's an opening bracket and a closing bracket. All right, now that little bit of code right there starts a paragraph. That will begin the paragraph. Now I have to tell it. I have to tell, I have to code in, where does the paragraph end? Well, in this case, it's going to end down here after the word separate idea in every paragraph right there. So that's where I want this paragraph to end. So that looks like this, bracket slash P bracket. All right, cool. And you don't put numbers with this. They're not like headings. You don't say P1 and then P2 and then P3. It doesn't work like that. No, 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 no. Don't put numbers with it. All you have to do is mark the beginning of the paragraph like that, bracket P bracket, and then mark the end of the paragraph like that, bracket slash P bracket. And that's beginning and end. And if we look over here on the right-hand side, this is already looking better. Look what happened. When you write paragraphs, you usually put a separate idea in every paragraph. And then look, it pushed the rest of the text down, and it skipped some space in there, and it's making it much more organized. All right, so let's go to line 10 over here, and let's do bracket P bracket. That marks the beginning of the paragraph. And then right here after the word understand, I'm going to go bracket slash P bracket. That's the end of the paragraph. Beginning, end. Right? See them? Beginning of the paragraph, end of the paragraph. Now, if we look over here on the right, this is looking pretty good now. This is all already, much improved. Looks much better, much easier to read, much better organized. But we're not really done. To be really on top of our coding habits, this third paragraph, even though it looks okay over on the right-hand side, this third paragraph still needs paragraph tags. All right, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to go bracket P bracket and then bracket slash P bracket at the end of that paragraph. All right. Now, so that's the biggest part of your assignment today, to construct 3 different paragraphs. Now, what do you write them about? What are you going to say? Well, come up with something. Think of something. It's got to be school appropriate, and it doesn't have to be a ton. Mine are only one sentence. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Talk about the NFL playoffs that are coming up, or NBA basketball, or talk about foods that you like to eat, or talk about subjects that you take at school, or video games that you like to play. A short paragraph, 3 of them, you can do it, right? And just make sure you mark them up. You got to mark the beginning of the paragraph, and you got to mark the end of the paragraph. Beginning and end. Beginning and end. All right, cool. Now, remember the other thing that's required here on this assignment is you got to put in some bold, italic, and underline. Those are 3 different things. Okay. Well, so here's an example of that. And again, I don't think this is going to be super rocket science for you here. But let's say that I want to take this word right here, paragraphs. When you write paragraphs, I want to take that word right there and make it bold. All right, well, look how I do it. Bracket B bracket. That's not shocking, is it? And then I go back down to the end of that word and I go bracket slash B bracket. And that is code. That's code for, make this word right here bold print. That's how you code it. You start the bold and you end the bold. So look at it for a second. That's how it works right there. And if we go over on the right-hand side and look at it, you'll see the word paragraphs, and it's not super dramatic, but it's in bold print. You can tell it's different. All right, let's do something different in the second paragraph here. Let's make something, let's go italic, okay? Let's say I want to take the words so the reader can understand. I want to make those italic, okay? So I'll go right before the S in so, and I'm going to go bracket, I, bracket. Again, that's probably not super rocket science there, right? That if you look at the pattern, that the way these things work with paragraphs and with bold you've seen so far, bracket, I, bracket will start the italics. Now I'm going to move my cursor down to just after the D of understand, and I'm going to go bracket slash I, bracket, and that's going to turn off the italics. Start, stop, begin, end. That's how it works. All right, now you might notice here that I have a tag for italic and a tag for paragraph right next to each other. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. If we go over to the right and look at our preview, you can see, yep, sure enough, those words, so the reader can understand, are italicized because I told them to be. All right, let's go to our third paragraph here and say, let's make something underlined. All right, I'm going to take these words right here, separated visually. I'm going to use those words, and I'm going to make them underlined. Well, again, not rocket science, I don't think, folks. Bracket, you, bracket. All right, that starts the underline. Go find your spot where you want the underline to stop, and go bracket slash U, bracket. So take a look. Right? See how that works? It's not hard. Bracket U, bracket, bracket slash U, bracket. All right, start the underline, stop the underline. And if we go over in the right-hand side and we look at our preview, yes, sure enough, separated visually is underlined. All right? I'm trying to get that highlighter off of there, but that's all right. Doesn't matter. All right. So that's all working. That's it. Yay. Now, you would just have, when you get that done, you've got 3 paragraphs, right? You included some bold. I've got some bold in there. I've got some italic in there, and I've got some underline in there. That all has to be done. That's all part of it. Then what you would do is you would go up here to share. You take your link, copy that link, get back to Google Classroom and go view the assignment and hit the plus button where you add, files or whatever. So you would hit the plus button, add link, paste that link in there. I can't demonstrate that part of it because I'm a teacher and mine doesn't look the same as yours, but I think you know what to do there. You go where you turn the assignment in, you go to add link, paste the link in there, add the link, and then turn it in. All right, let's knock that out, shall we?